guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna show you how I get my faux freckles. I know I've been wearing them in like every single Instagram photo, every single video, and honestly, I just feel like I need to spread the word. It's actually really easy, but there are some little things that I do to make them look a lot more natural. I feel like the faux freckles craze has gotten so much slack recently, and I think it's just because so many people don't know how to do it the correct way. I definitely was one of those people for a while, but once you learn how to do it, it's really easy, and I think you guys will change your mind if you're against faux freckles. I mean, if you're against faux freckles and you clicked on this video though, let's just get right into this video. Like I said, it's super simple, so let's do it. First of all, you need to find a palette or a shadow that's going to have a shade in it that will match your skin tone. Basically, if you have any freckles, you wanna find a shadow that matches your natural freckle shade as much as possible, if not a little bit lighter than your natural freckle shade, because you don't want them to be really intense. I'm taking the shade right here from the Kat Von D palette, which is the shade Latinus. I also used to always use from the Modern Renaissance palette the shade Warm Taupe, so if you have that shade and you're similar skin tone as me, you could use that. You could also take like a bronzer. This is a bronzer that I use. A lot of times I find that they're too warm for me though, and they wind up looking a little weird. Honestly, the hardest part about faux freckles is finding a shade that's the perfect shade for you. Grab a shade that you think will work best, test them out first, like maybe in the side of your face or something, and then once you have a shade, you're set. Then after you, well, not completely, because next thing that you need is a brush. This one is from Tarte. It is the double-sided eyeliner brush. I'm pretty sure they still sell this. I've had it forever. This one, for some reason, gets me the perfect freckles, and since it has two sides, this one gives me smaller freckles and this one gives me bigger freckles, so I like to use both because that way they're not all so even. Grab a brush that you think will work best for this. If you don't have a brush, you could try to take a Q-tip and snip it so that you can use the actual like stick part of the Q-tip. Be careful when you do that though, because it might give you a ring. Just test it out. Usually like when I'm putting on bronzer and everything is when I do this step. So I take my bronzer and I usually use a different brush, but I forgot my brush today. So I take it and I put it on the bridge of my nose. And this is after I do nose contouring and everything, right here on the bridge, because the sun naturally will hit your nose. So if you have freckles, it's sun damage basically. So, you know, you want to look like you've had a little bit of sun so it looks a little real. I think that's a really important step. And don't come for me if you have freckles and don't have color on your nose, because I know somebody has that, but I'm just saying, like, in the grand scheme of things, it will look more natural if you just add a little bit. It's not that noticeable, but it winds up all coming together. When I take my blush, I will take it and also add it into the bridge of my nose as well. This is Wet n Wild Apricot in the middle. I'm just gonna also add this onto the bridge of my nose. This one I wanna be a little bit more sparing with. Oh my God, don't mind all the self-tanner on my hands. It's really nasty. Now moving into the actual faux freckle part, I'm gonna move in closer with the camera and then I'll show you what to do. I usually dip both sides of the brush first just so that I'm prepared. Start with my beauty marks that are already there and I just go over them. So I have one on my upper lip right here, I go over it, and then that's just a little blemish, so I'll add it on top of my natural ones, like right here. And it doesn't have to be exact, like as you can see I completely missed right there, but that's okay. I have a bunch on this side that I just add little dots onto my constellation right here. And then I start and I just go. I honestly just start like at a really random spot, like right here, and then I just start adding them in. And the thing is that you really don't need a big touch at all, like just a little tiny dot. And then I flip it, and as you, well, that didn't have enough shadow on it. Don't think too hard about placement. Like honestly, the more random the better, because freckles are pretty random, and like I don't like when they're exact dots. Like I like them to be close by each other because that's how real freckles are. Obviously right now it looks a little crazy, like they clearly look fake on my face, so I'm gonna take this beauty blender and just start pouncing on top of the freckles. And as you can see already, like just the ones on my nose, like those ones, they look so much more natural. It's honestly the most important step, going over it with a sponge afterwards, because as you can see, literally like it just melted so much of it into my foundation. I do that honestly a couple times over, depending on how strong I want the freckles to be that day, because sometimes I just want a little something. And when you're zoomed out right here, they're nowhere near as noticeable. I mean, obviously when you're zoomed in, they're like, you see them because that's what we're looking at. Now I'm going in for a second layer just for dramatic effect here because I'm doing a tutorial on it, so I'm gonna show you guys the full shebang. And then I always go in right on my, like right there. I don't know why I always choose this side, but I just add a couple freckles right up there. And then a couple on my chin as well. Sometimes I like one right here too. But obviously that's all preference. I usually have like a general vicinity of where I keep putting them because they can't be too different every day. People will start to catch on. Honestly, like people have been starting to ask me if these are real freckles. So after the second layer, I'm going in and blending them again. So to set the freckles, it's really important, I think, to use a setting spray. I personally like using more of a primer water or just like a Fix Plus type thing. That's how I get my faux freckles. It's really, really easy. It takes like 2 seconds onto your makeup routine. And to me, I feel like I just look so much more natural throughout the day and just more like summery, sun-kissed type of vibe. And I really enjoy doing them. Ever since I started doing them, I'm like, it's like an everyday thing for me. So I decided I would just have a dedicated video on my channel. Hopefully this way will work really well for you too. Comment and let me know if this worked for you and tag me in your photos if you post any. Subscribe. What else? I think that's it. You guys can follow me on Instagram. Everything is linked down below. So I hope you guys had a good time watching, learned something new, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!